Yellowstone National Park, established in 1872, is the first national park in the world and is primarily located in Wyoming, USA, but also extends into Montana and Idaho. It is famous for its stunning natural landscapes, geothermal phenomena such as hot springs, geysers, and large lakes. Yellowstone has a diverse ecosystem with many rare plant and animal species, including bears, wolves, and bison. Notably, this area features Yellowstone Lake, the largest high-elevation lake in North America, situated over 2,000 meters above sea level. The gray wolf is one of the iconic species of Yellowstone National Park, serving as a top predator in its ecosystem long before the park was established. Wolves help maintain the balance among wildlife and create a diverse habitat for many other species. However, by the end of the 19th century, rising human populations and activities, including natural resource exploitation, led to a significant decline in wolf populations. Gray wolves were heavily hunted for livestock protection and due to the increasing hunting activities. By 1926, after being completely eliminated from Yellowstone, gray wolves became a part of history, leading to profound changes in the park's ecological structure. In the 1920s, wolves disappeared from Yellowstone National Park. Nearly a century later, the rivers had changed their courses. What happened? A waterfall with a changed flow was observed in Yellowstone National Park, USA. In the mid-1920s, an effort to eradicate wolves in the park and across America caused the rivers within the park to change course. This connection is fascinating because wolves, as terrestrial predators, have no direct relation to rivers. So what transpired here? What is a trophic cascade? Food chains and webs consist of living organisms that depend on one another for food and energy. Therefore, disrupting a food chain can lead to a hypothesized trophic cascade. It takes time for a new trophic level to form, but a clear case is what happened in Yellowstone National Park. Due to the eradication of gray wolves, top predators in the food chain, lower-tier species became unchecked, leading to population explosions and overconsumption of natural resources. The ecological disaster from this unintended disruption took about 7 decades to manifest. What happened when the wolves disappeared? The wolf eradication program began in the mid-1920s in response to farmers' concerns about the safety of their livestock. Wolves are one of the park's top predators, primarily preying on elk. With the extinction of wolves, the hunting pressure on elk decreased, allowing their populations to thrive and reach peak numbers within a few decades. The increased herbivore population stressed the vegetation, resulting in the depletion of grasses and young trees in the park. The loss of riparian vegetation and young trees became particularly evident, as elk had both food and water sources near riverbanks. Other species populations also declined due to the lack of available food. The beavers left too. The park also had a thriving beaver population. Beavers feed on the nutrient-rich new growth of trees. However, due to overgrazing by elk, the tree canopies near the rivers thinned out, and beavers began migrating from the riverbanks to other areas. Along with them went one of nature's greatest engineering marvels, the beaver dam. The water-retaining ability of these dams saturates nearby soil, ensuring a stable moisture supply for plants, even in the absence of rain. And eventually, the rivers change their flow. The disappearance of riparian vegetation and beaver dams inevitably led to erosion in the area. Seasonal flooding began, causing the rivers to meander differently from their original courses. These changes in the rivers disrupted groundwater levels and affected vegetation growth in nearby areas. It also impacted the movement patterns of species across the river. Thus, a long story began with the disappearance of one species from the top of the food chain, affecting every link in many different ways, including the population increase of elk, the decline of biodiversity, the destruction of beaver habitats, and ultimately, the changing flow of the rivers. What happened when the wolves returned? Shortly after scientists discovered this trophic cascade in the natural system, 41 wolves were reintroduced to Yellowstone National Park after nearly 70 years of absence. The wolves began preying on the abundant elk population, which gradually began to avoid open areas like riverbanks due to the fear of being hunted. As a result, overgrazing near riverbanks ceased, allowing new growth of young trees. Beavers also returned, building complex dams and providing cover for smaller rodent species. The rate of soil erosion slowed, and the rivers began to revert to their original paths. The reintroduction of top predators into the food chain led to the restoration of the entire ecosystem. All this implies that if we view wolves as a species to be eradicated and replace them with elk, would it be better for the ecosystem? Clearly not. Here, it is crucial to emphasize that we still need to protect species, but interfering with a stable ecosystem can be a grave mistake. Wolves can also be a part of an important story. They are flexible predators, hunting beavers and other animals that live and thrive on riparian vegetation. However, too many predators like wolves can also change the flow of rivers. Natural processes are inherently complex and result from numerous interactions between various biotic and abiotic factors. Scientists are still searching for other variables that could help restore Yellowstone National Park's original ecosystem. They also acknowledge that they do not fully understand the factors causing environmental changes around the park and that there is much more to study. The story of the gray wolves in Yellowstone is a classic example of the intricate relationships among species within an ecosystem. The reintroduction of wolves not only restored one animal species, but also led to profound changes in the structure and function of the ecosystem, including river flows. This highlights the importance of conserving and managing wildlife, as they play not only distinct roles, but also have a significant impact on their surrounding habitats. Protecting gray wolves is not just about safeguarding a species, but also about preserving a part of nature where all species depend on each other.